Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown, along with Ryan Graham.
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber.
Hello.
And this is State of Atlanta.
Cheers, Ryan.
Why not drinking?
Gonna have a sober night. Woo!
Oh, man.
Because
Not a sober month.
One every now and again.
This is going to be our best episode ever.
Good.
Well, welcome back, guys.
Faith.
Welcome back, guys. Hope you had a good week. Week
Yeah.
off, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys do for the bye week?
What?
Besides watch the Falcons suck it up.
I didn't. I just skipped that nonsense. I put Red Zone on and just did that. So
Right.
I was like, nah, not this time, Falcons.
Not going to get you this time. Gotcha.
Nope.
How about you, Tim? Anything fun? Or not? Okay, apparently not. Nothing fun with.
I'm having problems hearing you. Like you're talking, but I don't hear anything.
I hear it crystal clear. So
Yeah.
might be you.
All right, well then
be-
I will just the rest of the evening. I'll just kind of point at you, and I want you to say something, and you just kind of go and just say whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter what's actually going on.
I watched college football all Saturday. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but that's what I did. And I watched the Auburn-Georgia game, and then on Sunday I watched the Falcons fall apart on their faces.
Sounds like a good weekend. Sounds like an Atlanta weekend right there. All right, well, with our bye week, we do have Arkansas State up this Thursday night up in Jonesboro. So we've got Chase Gage from the redwolfreport.com that's going to be joining us to break down that game and give a little preview and tell us why we're going to lose. And without further ado, welcome, Chase, to the show.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. How's it going?
Going very well. Can you hear him, Tim?
Yeah.
Me, you can't hear. Fantastic. Just the host of the show. No big deal at all.
You're not necessary.
Thanks for joining us, Chase, all the way out there from Arkansas. How's it going?
Pretty good, man. How are you guys?
Doing good. Doing good.
Been better. Yeah.
Our drinking show has one member on full-on hangover. So
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't always wait for the podcast night, you know.
Yeah, understandable.
Well, it's the game's early. It's the game's on Thursday, so you got to
Exactly.
be drinking like on Monday, Tuesday to be prepared for the game.
Exactly. You gotta start pre-gaming a few days earlier. It makes sense.
So that's actually, since you brought up drinking, that's actually one thing I wanted to talk to you about there, Chase. Some new information breaking news. We just found out that Jonesboro is a dry county in Arkansas. You can't buy booze there?
Technically, yes. There are no liquor stores in Craighead County, but there are several bars, restaurants that serve alcohol. You just can't buy like a case of beer. But outside of town on both sides, you got liquor stores right at the county line. But yeah, somehow in 2020, Jonesboro is still a wet county or still a dry county.
Dry county, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Our nemesis to the south was like that for quite some time. I believe that it changed years ago that Georgia Southern can now sell beer or whatever, but just a sign of the times that they were way more backwards than we are. So
there's still a bunch of dry counties in Georgia, and I know Clark County for a long time was apparently, and like all the college kids would go. There's the same thing. Like you go out Jefferson Highway, and like right as soon as you cross the line, the county line, there's like a bunch of liquor stores there, or there were for a while. I think they're all closed now.
That'd be a great place for cops to set up shop and just catch all the drunk people going to go.
No, it is. Arcade is like well known as a traffic stop place too. So like don't speed through Arcade because they'll get you for going like 1 mile per hour over.
Or 1 mile an hour over. What are you trying to hide? All right. Well, so let's talk about the game a little bit. It's this Thursday up in Jonesboro. I think this is like the 7th time the schools have met. Georgia State won last year down here in Atlanta. Big win for us back when Dan Ellington was still healthy. So Chase, what do you expect coming into the game on Thursday? You feeling good, bad about the game?
From a Red Wolf perspective, I'm not necessarily feeling good about anything this season necessarily. I don't want to sound too pessimistic.
Please. That's exactly what we want to hear. We want you to
this is fine.
You guys are going to be.
I mean, we had that.
You are absolutely wrong about this, and the Red Wolves come in and just like stomp all over us. Like no one's going to remember that. So
I mean, I hope so. But I'm cautiously pessimistic, I guess would be a good way to put it. But last year we went down there and you guys just whooped us up and down the field. I mean, honestly, from us, it was one of the worst games I've ever had to sit through. Not, no offense, but we just couldn't stop anything and never got the offense rolling. And the problem is, I see the same issues kind of showing up again this year, here and there. We played Memphis, and we gave them 3 really good quarters, but we had one quarter where we were terrible, and it cost us the game. Then we get Kansas State, and we still have a couple really bad moments, and somehow we escape and win that game. Then we turn around and play Coastal and just lay an egg, and they just dominate, kind of like the game last year, to where we never got an offensive rhythm, and the defense just couldn't. The defense was on the field the whole game, and eventually they just got so tired that Coastal was able to do whatever they wanted. And then even this last week, we played UCA, who's a really, really good FCS team. They went toe-to-toe with North Dakota State, came down to the wire a week ago. And we beat them 50-27, which sounds good, but watching that game, it was still kind of aggravating at times.
I'll definitely make sure we bring it up. That I got that first quarter score, and it was 3-2
3-2
Arkansas, and I'm like, what is going on? I love the safety in there though, because at 3-2 sounds like a decent baseball score.
Yeah.
But typically, when a team gets a safety, that's the team that's dominating on both sides of the ball. So to see a 3-2 score, that cracked me up.
Yeah, that one was a weird start. It was 3-2, then it was 6-2. And then all of a sudden, both offenses just started going back and forth, trading shots. And eventually, we got like a 3-touchdown lead, but then all of a sudden, UCA comes right back in it. And even late, when the game was pretty much decided, it was a little discouraging to me. We missed back-to-back plays. We had a receiver running just wide open, uncontested, and overthrew a receiver twice back-to-back and ended up having to punt. And it's just little things like that keep happening over the last few years. We're 2 or 3 plays away from 2 or 3 more wins. Even a couple years ago, we lost to Georgia Southern on the last play of the game, lost to Louisiana on the last play of the game. And even with you guys last year, we had a chance late to try to finally get back in it. We couldn't do it. And then we go to a bowl game a few years ago, goes to overtime. We're 1 play away, and we just can't find a way to win. Last year, we had a couple games like that. Coastal and Georgia Southern, again, came down to the final drive, but we were able to finally win those games. But it's still concerning enough that that's been such a pattern for the last 3 years or so. And so if this is a close game and it comes down to if we can make a play or not, I'm just not sure. It sounds bad, but I'm just not that confident that we're necessarily going to make the plays that might decide the game.
Well, you say that you guys are cautiously optimistic about the game, cautiously pessimistic about the game. That is what we feel like. When we feel that way, that's when we feel like we're going to win the game, because we don't have a lot of optimism as a fan base. Like you said, it was a pretty bad loss for you guys to swallow last year, losing to Georgia State. I think we were talking about this last week. The best thing about beating teams that don't respect Georgia State is that man, they really hate that loss. They really, really, really hate that loss.
That was the thing, man. The fan base was livid. Again, no offense to any of you guys, but it was like, Georgia State. We lost to Georgia State. You guys, we'd never lost to you before. And then this year, we've never lost to Coastal, and then they beat us this year. So
that Coastal team is a little scary to me this year. I don't know what's going on over there in Conway. I do not look forward to playing that game. We got still a couple of weeks before then. But I wanted to ask you one question before I let either other guys get in here. Is you made a comment about a couple of missed opportunities in the game last week against Central Arkansas, some missed receptions. You guys are doing a 2-quarterback system, it seems like, this year. Was that I know that? So you had who was it, Bonner? Last year they got injured, and then you brought in the other guy. So it's kind of like we've 2 quality quarterbacks. Did you guys expect that Blake Anderson would be playing 2 different quarterbacks regularly in the games?
Honestly, no. So we knew last year Logan Bonner was the clear-cut starter to start the season. Lane Hatcher transferred in from Alabama, but he came in at the end of the summer. And Bonner was under Justice Hansen for a few years, so he was groomed to be the guy, and he was the guy coming in. And through 4 games, he had 1,000 yards, 4. I don't know how many touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. I'll have to go check. But he only had 1 interception. No, I think it might have been 10 touchdowns and 1 interception. And it was like a fluke, weird snap got batted in the air type thing. So, I mean, he was playing like lights out. And then he breaks his thumb and he's out for the year. So Lane Hatcher comes in as a freshman and wins Sunbelt Freshman of the Year. And, he's putting up these big numbers week after week, making clutch plays. And so all of a sudden we go into the offseason with a bit of a quarterback battle. Logan gets a year of eligibility back because he didn't play the 4 full games. So now it's kind of you've got a sophomore and a junior, and both of them, neither one has separated themselves. And so my thought was that coming into the year, Blake was going to play both of them in the first couple games, kind of get a feel of who can do what. And I assumed we would, then name a permanent starter, that this guy's the guy, the other guy will be the backup, and then maybe redshirt again, or, see what happens as far as eligibility goes. But now it started where Bonner would get 2 series and then Lane would come in for 1. But now it's back and forth. Every drive we change quarterbacks. And really, it's crazy because one will come in and march down the field and score a touchdown. And you're like, okay, stick with this guy. He's hot. He just drove the team down the field. Then the other guy comes in and does the same thing. And it's like, crap. Now what do we do? And they switch back out, and one throws a pick, and then the other goes 3 and out. And then it's weird. And personally, I don't like it. I think you need one guy to be the guy and get into rhythms and stuff. But Coach Anderson is pretty committed to it at this point. So that's just who we are this year. And I don't know what it means for the future. I really doubt that both of these guys come back, and be a senior and a junior where you're going to have to be splitting snaps here. So eventually I think there's going to have to be some sort of decision made on who to move forward with. But for now, it looks like it's just you're going to get Bonner to start, and then you're going to get Hatcher the next drive, and they're going to flip all game. So,
are they pretty similar style quarterbacks? Is one better in the air, one better on the ground? Or are they pretty similar the way they play?
That's the weird part about it, is they're very, very similar in the way they play. I did an interview earlier in the year before the season started. Somebody was asking my thoughts on them, and it kind of has played out about the way that I thought. Hatcher, I think, is more of a game manager type guy. He's going to get you 5 or 6 yards, chunk here, chunk there. He can still throw the deep ball. He's got a big arm. He's kind of mobile. He could get 3 or 4 on the ground. He's not going to break a big run on you. But he's not going to make as many mistakes, and the stats might not quite reflect that, as far as like interceptions and stuff, but he's not going to throw into double coverage as much. He's not going to make the risky plays, but he's also, for the most part, not going to make the big, crazy, good plays either. To where Hatcher, he's a little more wild, I guess. He's going to take that risk and throw into double coverage, but sometimes it's a touchdown, sometimes it's a pick. I think that comes a little bit from experience, where Bonner's been in the system for 4 years, and Hatcher's just been here a year and a half. But yeah, as far as play style, they're both not really that mobile. They can pick up a first down, but they're not an actual run threat. But they're both tough, durable, big arm, accurate, but they both play really good football. So it's a really weird situation, honestly.
Interesting. All right. Well, since Ryan is hungover and never prepares anyways, I'll turn it over to Tim if you got a question for Chase about the game Thursday.
Oh, I was curious. Wow, you guys have the 2 quarterback system. That's going to be tough to manage. And then
Tim, I just asked this question. Were you not listening to anything Chase just said?
I'm getting there. Hold on.
Okay.
What I heard you say is that
wait, they have 2 quarterbacks?
Yeah, more than 2 probably, Ryan. Maybe.
No, look at the guy that got a couple of snaps in the game against Central Arkansas. I did see there was 2 guys with 2 attempts and then like 0 completions.
Yeah, that was Colton Clack. He's the third string. He's pretty good. He's pretty sure he redshirted last year, so he's a redshirt freshman, but he'll be around down the road next few years. But
all right, go for it, Tim.
So anyway, I was gonna say, it's like from what you were saying, they seem to copy each other. One does well, the other one does well. One does terrible, the other one follows him and does terrible for a series. I think the biggest thing for us is your defense. Obviously, I'm not that familiar with your team right now. I didn't even know you did a 2-quarterback system, but defensively, I mean, last year, I don't think any of us would have predicted us to win. I know I didn't.
no.
It was like a complete reversal is what it felt like. How do you see the defense this year and stacking up against Quad Brown?
Our defense, let's see. They're not good. They're not good.
That's what we want to hear.
Questions,
getting the answers we really want here.
He's like, ooh.
Trying to think of
I'm like, yes.
I'm trying to think of what I should and shouldn't say here, but
we're not going to give any secrets to the team.
You can say whatever you need to say.
Yeah, whatever. So,
Coach Elliott is a fan of the show. He's watching right now. He's going to get every word you have to say.
Well, if you guys want to beat us, just throw screen passes all day. We're going to give you 10 yards.
We've actually been doing that really well. That and weirdly, like our option has been pretty good.
You will eat us alive on the outside. Our defensive coordinator, Coach Dugan, he, for whatever reason, he's going to give you a 5 to 10 yard cushion on the outside, and he's not going to change. He will not change.
You guys remember that? Like early on in our life as a football team, where they would the corners would play 10 yards off the ball every single play, and you're like, what is happening? Why are you doing this?
They were coming their direction. They didn't want to
3Ds, right?
That's where
we feel your pain, man. We went through 2 seasons of that or 3 seasons of that.
Sometimes flashback games.
Oh, it was 20 yards off the ball at times.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played SMU in the opener last year, and I don't know that they threw more than 5 or 6 balls actually past the line of scrimmage, and they went for, don't quote me here, but over 400 passing yards, I'm pretty sure. Just screen and get 5-6 yards every time.
Well, we're real big sticklers here for accurate stats, so if you could just figure that out.
I'm a stats guy, but I don't have anything to look.
We're not.
You're not. Yeah, that was sarcasm.
I come into these things completely unprepared. I find them more fun that way.
Yeah, that's what I see.
That's
we can just kick Ryan out and just have you on because he's the guy
who's
here every week.
Dang, that's messed up.
Chase, so we talked about the defensive line, defense not being too hot. Georgia State has not had a strong defense pretty much since Coach Elliott's been here. I guess Mentor actually put together something that was getting better. But we feel like we have a decent defense after only 2 games this season. What's your O-line look like? Are they ECU with a bunch of pushovers, a bunch of young kids? We are able to do whatever we wanted to impose our will on them for the most part. What's your O-line look like?
Well, compared to last year, they're vastly improved, but that's not necessarily saying a lot. Last year, they were just really bad on the offensive line. It was it wasn't necessarily their fault. We had a ton of injuries last year, a lot to key guys on both lines. I'm pretty sure at one point we were down 3 starters on the defensive line and then 2 backups. And then on the offensive line, we had 3 or 4 major injuries. I don't think it was all starters, but we ended up having a lot of freshmen playing, a lot of guys playing out of position. So it was just kind of a mess just getting them together all year, trying to put the pieces together on both lines. But this year, the offensive line is improved. They're not bad, but they're not as good as they can be. I think they're going to improve over the next couple of years, though, because, now that you get a bunch of freshmen last year that get snaps that they shouldn't have, get more experience. They've had time to get healthy. But I mean, they're nothing to, nothing to brag about, but nothing to be too concerned about. Our running game isn't where we want it to be, but we more than make up for it with the passing game. We've got, the two quarterbacks, a handful of receivers. And so pretty much all we ask of the offensive line is just give our guys enough time to throw it. I'd have to look at the numbers. We're not giving up nearly as many sacks as we did last year, but we're not able to get those surges to get the running game really going. So we're kind of in the middle, I guess. We're good at pass protection, and that's what we try to be good at. So it works.
Yeah, I think looking at the stats from the Central Arkansas game, there was only between the two quarterbacks only one sack given up in the game. So, but great. Then again, you're talking about FCS, but a good FCS.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the comments. We got a question from our buddy John Weaver. You guys, I'm going to add on to his question before reading his question here. You guys had a history there for 3 years. History was 3 years. I guess it's technically history. There was 3 years in a row where you guys were losing your coaches. And so the question from John is, how long do you think Blake Anderson stays at State? Is it more likely that he leaves for he says better, I'm going to say another opportunity, or would there be another reason he would leave the program?
So this is a very complicated question. And this is kind of something that you get a lot around here. But yeah, we did have 5 coaches in 5 years, Blake being the 5th of them, because we had Steve Roberts, who got fired, and then we had Hugh Freeze, Gus Malzahn, Brian Harsin, Blake Anderson.
By the way, we're our 3rd coach ever.
Yeah, so
we've years, but we weren't our 3rd coach ever.
We've rattled off a bunch of crappy coaches there. I don't know.
So I'm going to give you a long, complicated answer here, but so within that in that time period, Hugh Freeze went 10-3, Gus Malzahn went 10-3, Brian Harsin I think went 7-5. We had kind of a down year, and then Blake comes in, and he had, I feel like his first year was like 7-5, 8-4, but then he goes 9-3, and we win the Cure Bowl. And so the fans, all of a sudden, we had never had more than 6 wins in a year. And one of the years that we had 6, they all got vacated. So technically we went 0-6. So we had never had really any success as a Division I school. And then all of a sudden we're winning 9-10 games every year. And people got really spoiled to where now, last year we go 8-4 and people are upset that we went 8-4. That's not good, or 8-5, whatever it was, but that's not good enough anymore. So really for the last few years, there's been I don't know how big of a part of the fan base. I don't think it's that big, but there is a faction of the fan base that wants Blake gone, that says we've stagnated. We're not going to get any better. We've reached our ceiling. And then there's a big part of the fan base that loves him for more than just the on-field results, because he's one of the greatest dudes you could ever meet. Nicest, always in great spirits, even through everything he went through, which I'll get to that in a minute. But he's huge in our community. He's a huge ambassador for the Arkansas State brand. And you could argue that that's bigger than what he's doing necessarily on the field. Is the way that he's built our brand in the last 5-6 years is huge. And then, so it's, obviously kind of a touchy subject, but a lot of the hate, not really hate, but a lot of people that wanted him gone changed their tune a lot when he was going through, his wife going through cancer treatments, and then he ultimately loses his wife and his dad within the last year. And so I feel like to an extent there's that built in, that like this guy is great for the community. He's a great leader within our school system, even outside of sports. And you look at everything personally that he's been going through, and especially now with COVID, even if we have a terrible year, you can't fire a guy in that situation, even if the fan base turns on him. But he has in the past shopped around for better opportunities and kind of been, passed along to where he was a major candidate, but ultimately didn't get the job. I know he looked at, I believe it was Baylor a few years ago, because that's where he played in college. And then this last year, he was one of the big candidates for the Missouri job, didn't get that. Then there was another school late in the game, somewhere out west. I can't remember who it was. But there was another school that was showing some interest kind of after the coaching carousel took off, and then you lose a few extra people, and you get those last 2 or 3 positions to be filled. One of those, he was one of the names mentioned, something like a Fresno State. No, it wasn't them, but somewhere like Mountain West. But ultimately hasn't gotten those jobs. We really thought that he was leaving after this last year because he was shopping around, but he ended up back here. And I don't know if that's because he decided to come back here or if nobody else was going to take him. So I think he's for sure going to be the coach here next year because I think with COVID going on, you can't fire him, and most schools aren't going to be looking to get new coaches because everybody's going to get a pass this year, essentially, right. I feel like. So I don't think that the new opportunity is going to present itself. But next year could really be a make or break year of if we wanted to bring him back or if he wants to stay, because I feel like that turmoil started at the end of last season. So a couple more years probably, and then it might be just almost a mutual like, hey, you've been here 8 or 9 years at this point, let's move on kind of thing.
So you made a point there, and we say the same thing about Coach Elliott, is that about Blake Anderson being just a good human being, a good person, great for the community, does a lot of stuff. And we always brag about how much we like Coach Elliott as a person. Anytime we got a chance to interact with him, he's just a good guy, good football guy. We like him a lot. But as you were saying that, I was thinking for the first time, that's one of the differences between P5 programs and us little bottom dwellers, everything, is we talk about how good of a guy our coaches is. And then you look at the big guys, and their coaches are dicks.
Yeah.
Saban, Urban Meyer, Jim Harbaugh, they're just dicks. They're assholes. Yeah. And no one likes those people, but they get results on the field. So maybe we should stop wanting to have Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Right, in the on the sidelines. We want to get just a real big. I'm not advertising. I'm not auditioning for the job of the sidelines. I know nothing about football whatsoever at all. But if they need somebody to do a press conference and just like tell everybody they're stupid, Georgia State, you've got my number, because you always ask for money all the time. So
I mean, when Gus was here, I wasn't covering the team yet. I mean, that was like, hell, I was a teenager. I was playing high school football back then. But when Gus was here, everybody said that he was the worst in press. Like Blake, if you go to a press conference and you ask him a question, he'll crack a joke with you and he'll give you a big, long 5-minute answer and just go on and, have like just a one-on-one conversation with you. And they say that when Gus was here, he didn't want to have anything to do with the press or anybody. He'd give you one-word answers and try to get the hell out of there. Wasn't nice to anybody, wasn't trying to make friends. And he went 10-3. We won the bowl game, and he went to Auburn. And
you're just making my point for me.
And he's out the door. They did a autograph signing thing that I went to, to introduce him. And all the players, as you went down the line, they're all, oh, hey man, how's it going? Talking to you and stuff. And Gus was just then just signing and just get out of my face. Like even to fans and kids and shit, man. He didn't care.
I love it. That's what we want. We want. All right, Coach Elliott, be a bigger jerk,
There you
go. Be a big enough jerk to win a lot of games, but not so big that, another school wants to come hire you off, I guess.
Exactly. There you go. There's a happy medium somewhere.
Yeah, so we were talking about, the expectations for Arkansas State. I guess from our perspective, it's real on the West Division. It's just a battle between Lafayette and Arkansas State for who's going to represent in that in the championship game. I expected Arkansas State to be a big team this year, but Kansas State win, great. Memphis loss, kind of skeptical, but that Coastal game was just unexpected whatsoever at all. Where did you feel? I may have already asked this question. You may have answered. If you did, go on. I get drunk and forget stuff. Where did you see Arkansas State going at the beginning of this season, and have the games you've played this season changed your opinion at all about what you can expect to happen?
Well, really so far, they've exceeded and failed to meet expectations because we didn't expect to beat Memphis. We expected to keep it close. And we did for 3 quarters. We had one just terrible quarter where we couldn't do anything right, and it got out of hand, but then we fought back. So, we expected to lose that one by a score or two. We expected to lose a close one to Kansas State, and we were able to get that win. I guess if you had asked me, what do you think your record would be after Memphis, Kansas State, and Coastal, I would say 1-2, and that's correct. But it's just not the results we expected. We win that Kansas State game, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, dude, okay, yeah, we're rolling out, and then Coastal just smacks us,
Right.
and we turn around, and we don't have a great. It's hard to say you don't have a great game when you win by you double the opponent's score and you score 50 points, but it wasn't a great win, in my opinion, over UCA. It was like, man, there were still so many mistakes that if we do this against Louisiana, we're not going to win that game. But coming in, I really, honestly, I didn't do any predictions this year like I normally do because I didn't know even up to week 1 if we were going to play. But
Sure.
I would have picked us second to Louisiana in the West.
We call them Lafayette around here.
Yeah. See, people, we definitely still call them ULL and Lafayette and all that. I just got accustomed to it because I was supposed to be all proper, being a reporter and whatever. So I do it now.
You're a hometown reporter though, so it's cool, man.
That's true.
Do whatever you want. You can be a homer.
I'm wearing the gear. I'm technically, I'm actually a student at ASU still, so
you're allowed.
December. Go.
You definitely say what you want to say because you could just, hey, I'm a student. I get to sit in the student section.
Exactly. So whatever. But so Lafayette,
they hate it. It's amazing.
Yeah, we had one of the guys on from Rage and Review before our game against Lafayette, and then I repaid the favor and went on to their show, and I agreed that if we won the game, I would call them Louisiana or whatever the hell they wanted. But if we lost, which we barely did, then I can call them whatever the hell I wanted to. So I now am even more insistent about calling them Lafayette just to piss them off. But
those guys are cool though. Rage and Review. I went on their show last year too. But yeah, so their program where they're at right now under Coach Napier, they're the best team in the West. They're the team that we used to be 3-4 years ago. So they're the standard, and I don't think that we've done anything to dethrone them this year. But when we're playing our best, and this has been the problem, like I said before, for 3-4 years now, when we're playing our best, we're a great team, but we don't consistently play our best football. If the team that played Kansas State shows up against Louisiana, we got a chance. But if the Coastal team shows up, then they're going to run all over us, and it's going to be a blowout. And that's been our problem for a handful of years now. A few years ago, I think it was 2018, everybody was talking 11-1. We were playing Alabama, and we were going to beat everybody else, and we went 8-4. Because we had a bunch of.
We're dying for our first 8-win season.
I know. I was gonna say all your fans, man. They want
the game.
That's the thing, man. So I grew up in Jonesboro. I've been watching ASU since I was a kid, and I couldn't be happier with the state of the program. But you get these dudes twice my age that got 3 or 4 really good years, and then think that we should be moving up to the Big 12 and competing in the playoff and stuff. Like, no, man, we're not. We had 2 really, really, really great years that most programs might not ever get. And then we came back down to earth, but we've been so much better than we were before. But they got so spoiled. And I did too, to where now it's like, 7-5, but man, 10, I guess now it's been 9 years, but still 12 years ago, we would kill to go 7-5,
Yeah.
So
we do know.
we
do know.
So Ryan or Tim, if you can hear me, you got a question for Chase?
I was just going to talk about, I pulled it up on ESPN, and they've got this game as like a toss-up. It's like 50-50, 51 them, 49 us. Really,
Yeah,
it's like
3.5
point spread.
Red Wolves are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty exciting for us.
And that's in Jonesboro, so you got to think that if it was flipped, you guys would be favorites then.
And the under 71.5 points, though. It seems like a lot.
Be a points
That's
fest.
both the score.
Well, I think that we've shown in our 2 games that we know how to put up points.
Yeah.
And historically, our defense has been bad, even though we've seen an improvement in our defense. So it makes sense. Yeah, this should be a high-scoring game. I'm predicting a high-scoring game. I don't know if it's going to be a close game, but I think both teams are able to put up points. Tim, what question do you have?
I actually don't have any more questions.
Cool. I got one then.
Please.
So I meant to ask this earlier before we kind of got into the nuts and bolts of it, because I don't know anything about nuts and bolts and I know a lot about this. What's the game day experience like in Jonesboro this year? I mean, in general, if you want to talk about what it's like, a normal game day experience in Jonesboro, that's great. But I also want to talk about, like, what's it going to be like on Thursday? How many fans are allowed in? Are they allowing opposing fans? Masks and tailgating and all that kind of stuff. Tailgating is my favorite thing about college football. So
typically, well, this kind of goes with the trend that I was talking about with the fans getting spoiled. 3-4 years ago, Saturday in Jonesboro was rowdy, man. We would get, 23,000 packing the stadium. We got a pretty cool tailgating area. There's a place in front of the stadium to where if you're a student, this is, totally just hypothetical here. But if you're a student and you have a cup, nobody cares what's in the cup, but if it's a can, you gotta, whatever, but the cops are out there, but as long as you have a cup, you're good. So, you get that kind of the students out there. And so the student section's always rowdy. It's always a good time. They put in the Waterfalls a few years ago, which are cool. Kind of, honestly, that's kind of weird because they redid the end zone and they just put all the rich people there. That used to be like rowdy general admission, and now it's like, oh, these are season ticket holders, and so they're just like sitting there eating food. So it's a little weird. Takes away from some of the fun. But as the years have gone, it's been a problem everywhere, but it's been a problem here too. Attendance has declined, but I mean, even the last few years, we're getting 17, 18,000 every Saturday, and it gets rowdy. It's fun. This year, so this past weekend was our home opener, and I actually wasn't able to attend, and it was pouring rain anyway, so I wasn't too upset about it.
Bad fan.
Yeah, I know, man. I sat home and watched it on TV instead. I wasn't going to be able to make it by kickoff, so I was like, I'll just sit at home, whatever.
That first quarter, you're like, I'm so glad I didn't go to the game.
Yeah, sure. Because I actually had 2 TVs going, so I was watching Arkansas and Auburn while I was watching Arkansas State, UCA. So I was watching all 3 schools in Arkansas all at once. Anyway, I believe we're allowing 12,000. Our stadium holds close to 30. I would have to get an exact number. It's about 30.
Well, I'll be counting when we watch on Thursday night. I'll be counting all fans.
Yeah, there will not be 12,000 people there. Not even close. For a Thursday night game, typically, if there wasn't COVID on a Thursday night game, you're talking 15, 16,000 anyway.
Okay.
So there's probably going to be just a few hundred people there. You are required to wear a mask, I think, the whole time, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of like hey, you're in the stadium, whatever you do now is kind of your thing. As far as what I saw on TV, I saw a bunch of people not necessarily wearing. There weren't that many people in the stands anyway. There's no tailgating, unfortunately. So yeah, there's not going to be much of an atmosphere there. You'll be able to hear the waterfalls probably. Normally they're kind of loud anyway, but with no crowd noise, that's probably the best we've got now. And last year they started playing this really, really horrible dance remix to Smells Like Teen Spirit. And it's god awful. So you might hear that, and if you do, I'm sorry. And if the sound guy's listening, like, dude, it's terrible. It's the worst. It's disgusting.
And he probably agrees with you 100%, but there's somebody over his head who's like, "No, man, this is cool, man."
Yeah. So you'll probably just hear that and the waterfalls, and that's about it.
Gotcha.
So
Go ahead.
I forgot about the waterfalls. What was the reasoning behind those? I mean, it's a unique feature for sure. Like, I don't know too many college football stadiums in G5 that have waterfalls.
Water features, we call them water
Features, yeah.
Water features.
Yeah, the athletic director doesn't like us calling them waterfalls. So I guess that's kind of like my Lafayette thing. I call them the waterfalls because they don't like the term waterfalls. They're water features.
Waterfalls actually sounds cooler to me than water.
No, it's a water feature.
I think.
So if Terry Mahajer's watching this, he'll get mad at me, but that's okay. I don't work for him.
And it's weird. Like all the Arkansas State
Right
people, they follow us. They listen every week. We get comments. It's so weird.
All right.
Never believe Ryan. That's all
Yeah.
I
Really, Tim's the only person on here that is anywhere near being honest about anything he says. We have a question from out in right field again from John. What pro franchises do you Jonesboro folks follow?
That's a weird question. The St. Louis Cardinals is the only consensus. Everybody here's a Cardinals fan. There are a handful of Grizzlies fans, with it being just an hour away from Memphis. But most people don't like the NBA around here. I mean, people my age do, high school kids do, like, I say adults like I'm not 24 years old, but, but older adults don't watch the NBA.
Now, and I still do that.
So actually, full disclosure there, Chase, I'm actually originally from Memphis. I've got no allegiance to any Memphis University or college team, I should say, or pro teams. But yeah, because Memphis has the Redbirds, the minor league team from the Cardinals right there. And so it is definitely a St. Louis Cardinals hotbed as far as baseball goes.
Yeah, a lot of people like going to Redbirds games, and we're 4 hours from St. Louis, so people like the Cardinals. People like the Cowboys too, but again, it's weird because people don't really like the NFL that much. Really, and people will really hate me for saying this, but the pro team in the whole state of Arkansas is the Razorbacks. That's the team that everybody cares about, and Jonesboro, they get real sensitive about this. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about it because I don't care anymore. So I grew up being a Razorback and Red Wolf fan. My parents, my whole family's Razorback fans. And I grew up in Jonesboro watching ASU. I liked both of them. I go to ASU. I got accepted to both universities and chose ASU. That should tell you I kind of like these guys. This is where I'm going to school. And when I started writing for ASU, everybody thought that I was this Razorback fan that was going to trash ASU all the time. And they all attacked me for being a Razorback fan growing up. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to make it, man. Like, I'm just enjoying life, man. Why is it such a problem? Then this weekend, I tweeted about the Arkansas game, and I had hundreds of Razorback fans saying, "Oh, F you, you're just an ASU writer. What do you know?" I'm like, bro, well, then both of you, all of you, everybody.
A similar situation here. Ryan actually grew up in Athens, Georgia, where UGA is, and grew up a UGA fan his entire life until Georgia State started football.
Yep.
And we still give him crap about being a UGA fan first. We know that he has his red and black undies on over his
24/7.
Every now and again, that's right. And I still go to tailgates throughout the year, and I don't go to a lot of games anymore. But I'll still go down to Athens and tailgate with my family, and then just leave during the game and listen to it on the way home.
So you do a bit of
I'm a
it.
Red Wolves fan first. Like, if they played, I'm A-State all the way.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. That's my stance too. I'd show up to that tailgate in my blue and white, and that'd be that.
Yeah, but like, I don't
Actually you're at a point where Arkansas actually acknowledges Arkansas State as a football program and a university. UGA fans up here just Georgia State is that Division II? What school? What conference? They've got no idea about Georgia State, and so we kind of that was actually on my next list of questions to ask you about before we get going here. Was Arkansas won't play you guys, right? They don't play you in anything, or is it just football they won't play in?
That changed this year.
Okay.
So Arkansas played UA Pine Bluff in baseball, and I think they played UALR in baseball. Or no, they played UAPB in like an exhibition basketball game or something. They played UALR in baseball. And coming up next year, we're playing in women's basketball for the second time ever. We played in the WNIT 20 years ago or something, and we actually won. And that's the only matchup that we've ever had. But they're starting to schedule us in non-football sports. I believe, I don't know, the details were coming out around the time COVID hit and screwed up everything. But it's my belief that we for sure have a women's basketball game. They were working on maybe a men's basketball or a baseball type series. And the idea is within the next decade or so, maybe get a football game finally.
I think this COVID thing will actually force that hand a little bit. More teams are going to try to keep things a lot more regionalized and localized. So maybe, yeah, we're kind of in the same boat. We finally got that schedule with Georgia Tech, which is literally, we are the two closest FBS programs in the nation, but we cannot get Georgia on the schedule.
Yeah.
They would not play us in basketball. We played in basketball in a one of those like little preseason. It's not preseason, but like those early season tournaments. The rumor going on is that once they found out we were in the tournament, that they tried to back out of it, and then the tournament guys wouldn't let them do it without paying a big check. And so we come into the game that tournament, and we absolutely blow the socks off the one or two teams we had to blow to win. And then Georgia lost their game. So if we win, we play for that tournament championship. If we lose, we play Georgia in the consolation bracket. I have never seen a Coach Ron Hunter team play as poorly as they did in that game and then turn around and beat the ever-living snot out of the Bulldogs. It was one of those things you will never convince me.
I remember that. Now that you mention it, I remember seeing that that you guys beat the hell out of Georgia.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, I forgot that happened because college basketball season seems like 12 years ago now. But
Yeah.
So for Arkansas State, it's like little baby steps with Arkansas, right? Hell's
Yeah.
over, and then they'll schedule it in football, right?
Pretty
That's how
much.
it's happen.
So with Arkansas, their old AD, Frank Broyles, he was never going to play us ever, no matter what, in any sport. And he stepped down in 2008. He died not long after. And so in the 12 years since then, they finally started just a little bit. But now that Arkansas has Hunter Yurachek, he's more open to it. And our AD, Terry Mahajer, has been basically beating his door down.
Right.
Just like, dude, play us anything. Don't care. We'll make it happen. Let's make it happen. Because, I mean, everybody wants to see it. Well, I say that. They're the really bitter people on both sides that say, oh, we don't need Arkansas. And the others are like, oh, well, we don't care about ASU. We don't want to legitimize you guys. But 90% of people want to see it. And if we play in football, I mean, Arkansas has been horrible the last couple of years.
I was going to say that. I'm like, if you look at the two opportunities between Arkansas playing Arkansas State and Georgia playing Georgia State, I would be really scared if I was Arkansas playing Arkansas State. I'm not so scared if I'm Georgia playing Georgia State.
Georgia blanked us 55-0 last year. We had one drive that we actually, I think, got in the red zone and then missed a field goal or threw a pick or something. That game was kind of, you didn't pay much attention to that one. You just kind of let it happen, 55-0. But yeah, the last 2 years, I think Arkansas State would have gave it to Arkansas, but Arkansas has improved this year. I think it'd be close this year, but then in a couple years, they're probably going to be back to where they'd probably win 9 out of 10, but that one to us would be everything. I mean, UCA came up here to Jonesboro and beat us in 2016. Beat us by 2 or 3 points.
I wouldn't brag about that, man.
I'm not bragging about it. But people, like, the argument is that, if the small school beats the big school, that's it. But no, we lost to UCA, and then we won the next 9 games in a row. We started 0-4 and lost to UCA in that 4th game, and then ran the Sun Belt and beat UCF in the Cure Bowl.
Yeah.
And recruiting didn't take a hit. the world didn't end, and then you
I don't know how many years ago was that?
it might have just been delayed. Took 3.5 years after that game, but
Wow, for things to get out of Arkansas into the rest of the country. So.
exactly. But yeah, and then 4 years later, we beat them 50-27. So
There you go.
you know.
Oh, before we let you out of here, do you want to give any final prediction on the game this Thursday?
This has been tough, man. It depends on which team shows up. Earlier, I was what did I say? Cautiously pessimistic. I'll be cautiously optimistic in my prediction. I'll just give a subtle, like, say, Red Wolves. Let's see, what's a good score? 35-28. No field goals, all touchdowns.
All touchdowns.
Something like that. I have no idea, man. I really don't know what to expect, honestly.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Chase. I mean, unless you guys, Ryan, Tim, have another question for Chase, we've taken about an hour of his time.
There we go. I didn't have a cool background, so I took this off my wall. This is my sign off, and also I got to show off my Omar Bayless jersey up there.
Oh yeah,
it's the wrong number because as soon as he got drafted, I ordered that, so I got his college number on it. He's number 17, so I can just wrong shoulder. It's flipped. I just get a 1 right here.
There you go.
You guys got some white duct tape there in Jonesboro?
Yeah. Okay. I'll get it fixed. But yeah, that's my Omar Bayless Carolina Panthers jersey. So.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for being here, man. Maybe we'll get you on for a basketball game this season as well.
Let's hope so, man. This has been fun. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Take it easy. Appreciate it.
See you, dude.
Bye.
Well, that was good. That was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to go a full hour with him. I feel like the conversation has kind of flowed pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for him to answer the waterfall question. He wouldn't let him answer.
Look, Tim, don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah, wow, Ryan. Is this what we get out of you when you're sober? You actually have pop culture references and everything?
Maybe.
I've been waiting. I was waiting on the right moment when we were talking about it, and it just never came up. But then it seemed like when you brought it back, that was time. It was.
There you go.
It felt good.
It didn't come up because David didn't let him answer the question.
Yeah.
You guys do what you're good at, right?
That sounds like me. That sounds a lot like me.
I really want to know about the waterfalls. What the hell?
Look it up, dude. Just look it up.
Like I said, we'll get him back for basketball, and you can ask him a football question or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you can ask him about the waterfalls then.
They have them in already too.
You got. This is another reason why it's good if we were all together instead of being on video call. We could actually be like, dude, I'm trying to ask this question about So
I mean, when he answered my question about the defense, sound cut out. Had no clue what he said.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah, he said that they suck.
Yeah. Well, no, he kind of cut out. Like he sort of was like so I don't know if it cut out or, but he does not sound excited about their defense, which is nice.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I mean, how about you guys last year? Like when we played Arkansas State, did you really feel like we were going to blow the doors off of them? I didn't.
How early in the season was that? I don't remember because we were obviously we beat Tennessee. And then we, barely beat. Who was it? Who the hell even came in here? Like Morris Brown or whatever team we barely beat. Furman. It was Furman.
Morris Brown and Furman.
It starts with an M, but so we barely beat. We have to come back to beat them, and then we get our blown out of the stadium in Western Michigan, and then we got beat up in Texas State in 13 overtimes or something like that.
Right.
I don't know if Arkansas State. I don't how soon Arkansas State was after that, but yeah.
I'm thinking Ryan will have the answer here in a second.
Oh, he wasn't paying attention to that at all.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have thought that we'd have blown the doors off Arkansas State. Period.
No, well, it was the first. That was the seventh. Sorry, that was the sixth time we'd ever played them, and we'd never won before. So yeah, why would you think? Going into Monroe, I thought we were going to blow the doors off of Monroe. Because Dan Ellington had already shown how much of a badass he was, got injured in the game and we lost. But, if it was that late in the season last year, I killed all those brain cells. I've got no idea.
10-5.
What I expected. So
there you go. 10-5. So
that was early.
Came in.
Yeah. So we had fifth game. So that's exactly where I was at.
We just got to
see and come back at Furman.
Yeah.
And blown. Yeah. I'm with you now, Tim. I agree. I was not expecting us to blow the doors off of Arkansas State.
Now, man, their fan base, they're getting all angry about 8-4 years. I would love to be that angry.
Right.
You know?
We also got to figure.
Take a 7-5. Like
No insult to the
Wow.
Red Wolf Nation, but 7-6, 7-5 is not going to cut it in Atlanta. 8-4 is not going to cut it in Atlanta either. Yeah, this is gonna be a place where we need to be a 10-win team.
multiple seasons.
Oh no, consistently, like a 9-win season is a bad season, is what the city of Atlanta needs for a team to be successful.
Yeah.
So, but I will say though, I really wanted to tweet this out on Friday. Watching Georgia Tech's, I had Georgia Tech's game on against whoever the hell they were playing. Was that because they were down pretty big for a while? That Georgia State was going to be the best team in Atlanta, and the Falcons did their part on Sunday to reinforce that. But with Tech winning, they got 2 wins. We got one win. Anyhow, spoiler alert. When we win on Thursday, I'll be tweeting out that we're the best team in the city of Atlanta. So
Nice.
yeah. So well, that went about an hour, but maybe I'll just break this up into a part 1 and part 2, or let's keep on going for a little bit. The only thing I got left to talk about was a little bit about the other Sun Belt games that happened last week and a few other things. You guys good going for a little bit longer?
Yeah. How do you feel about Arkansas State? What's your prediction?
I think it's a high-scoring game. I want to say, I'll put it this way. Whichever team wins, I think they win by a touchdown or maybe 10 points. I'm not saying which team that's going to be, but I think that Georgia State has every right to be that 38, 28 team.
We're gonna kill them, and then we're gonna get in the 40s, and they're gonna get in the 20s.
Going into this conversation today, I was predicting a 38-35 Georgia State win. And for some reason, Chase, being as humble as he was about their program, I'm like, that's the attitude that I need. That's going to just come in here and beat the snot out of Georgia State. So
I'll go with a 41-31. We'll win by 10. Noel Rees redeems himself and makes some field goals too.
And losing faith in our defense, right?
I feel like Arkansas State offense, I mean, they'll score points.
it's going to be a game of points. And whichever team can put the most up is going to walk away victorious on Thursday night.
Who will have the points?
And that's Thursday with a U.
Yes. Ryan, what's your prediction? You're the last one. Go.
I already said, man.
I wasn't paying attention then.
You got to pull it around over there.
Pulling a Ryan, sorry.
You said 40-something to
20-something.
2.
20-something, yeah. I like that score. It's so hard.
I might have been watching the break.
We came into this season with so many question marks, and after 2 games, we've answered a lot of those, but they're kind of like written in pencil right now. They're not a lot of things are written in Sharpie about where this program is right now. So this will be another game where we get to figure out where we are.
Well, I think I've said this before. Like our defense, I have faith in it. I think they're a solid unit. Like I think we can count on them. Our offense has looked like they've gotten lucky at times. Like they've played bad defenses that missed assignments, and like we saw that one run in the last game or whatever, and it's like the guy missed and then he just gave up the whole rest of the play. He was just like, I'm done, and like I sat there and watched it happen. I was like, he could have probably actually saved that from being a touchdown.
Well, we know you're a fan of your solid units, so yeah.
I do. Solid. Yeah.
So Arkansas State Thursday night, only 2 nights away from now. Where are you guys watching it? I guess at home, right? That's all we get to do now, right? Is watch things at home.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was gonna text you, but to see if I could come over, but.
Well, no, I talked to the wife about maybe setting up a tailgate tent in the front yard with some chairs and everything. Maybe we'll set something up. I'll let you guys know.
I have permission already, so.
All right. Hey, well, there you go. All right. Well, maybe Maybe we'll put something together. I like it.
Rad.
All right, yeah. So Georgia State Thursday, Arkansas State. We'll figure out what happens. We'll talk about it next week because then we'll have do we have another bye next week? No, it's Saturday's a bye. Then we're headed to Troy, right? So we got following Saturday, Halloween, or is that time for Halloween yet? I don't know.
All these national TV broadcasts, man, it's getting old.
Yeah, maybe one of these will get a home one that's not at noon. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh, we're the nooners. That's like our thing.
Yeah, right.
What was the game this weekend we were supposed to pay attention to? I was clicking around trying to figure it out, but I feel like there was something on Saturday we were supposed to.
This past weekend, yeah, it got pushed back. It's the
Coastal Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana. Sorry. Man, why are you doing this to me, Tim? Lafayette hosting Coastal. It's tomorrow night. It's Wednesday night. They're going to be doing.
Okay, I thought that's what it was, and I was clicking around. And I was like, well, they didn't play, so but who knows?
COVID issue, hurricane. What is it? I don't remember.
Hurricane Delta got in the way. That's the same rain that that Chase was talking about that they had to deal with their game for Central Arkansas. But obviously, Lafayette is way more in that ground zero type space.
It was nuts. It was nuts here on Saturday night. It was crazy.
Oh, I was so drunk Saturday night that I slept through whatever happened. I don't remember.
We had a rally. Spike Cohen was in town, and so we had a rally for him, and it was raining. It was like sort of raining, and then right when it was over, it just started like pouring down rain. I mean, it was like flash floods here, and then Southwest Atlanta was. I think they had a tornado warning.
Oh yeah,
over there. Yeah.
I think my friend East Cobb had standing water in his basement as well. That's not even near here. But yeah, if the Braves were not playing in the the NLCS tomorrow night, I would definitely be watching the Coastal Lafayette game. Maybe I'll keep an eye on one while watching the Braves. Actually, speaking of, I'm still watching the Braves. Bottom of the ninth right now. Up 8-3. Anyhow, but so the Coastal Lafayette game scheduled for tomorrow night replaced Southern's App game that was supposed to be played. They got moved because App still doesn't know how to use sanitizer or disinfectant or masks or anything.
I was going to ask him about if they've had COVID issues with Arkansas State, like lately. Yeah,
they did. They had that Tulsa game that got canceled because of it, and then Memphis accused Arkansas State of infecting them or something like that.
Wow.
But I think it's kind of interesting that Southern App game getting moved to December 12th. That was the original scheduled Sunbelt, well, not originally scheduled, the original rescheduled Sunbelt Championship game. And I think if Georgia State takes care of business, that game is nothing more than an exhibition game to determine second place in the East.
Expedition game, right?
Exposition.
Our exposition. Sorry.
Yeah, but it won't be an exposition because it won't be before. It won't it doesn't matter at all.
It won't matter. It won't matter whatsoever.
It'll be worse than an exhibition game.
No, it'll be before. It'll be before the championship game has been moved to the 19th.
Obviously, the battle for third, right? Maybe second.
Yeah, I guess whichever one wants to lose the most for third place. Yeah, I like it. Other games, there's nothing else really good. Texas State, who I've been harping on as being better than they are this season, is at South Alabama.
Let your heart down, David.
I tried, but Texas State, rooting for Texas State has caused them to play like an Atlanta team, not play up to their expectations. They're not favored to win that game against USA. Eastern Kentucky at Troy. Troy's a 27.5-point favorite.
Goodness gracious.
UMass decided to restart football by playing at Southern this weekend. Southern
wins, man. They're like, hey, come here. We want to beat you.
Yeah, well, Southern is a 28.5-point favorite in that game. And as much as I hate Southern, no one doesn't believe that at all. Sure, why not? UMass is bad. They've not played football. Southern is horrible this year, but they'll probably put up 28.5 more than UMass does. Ugh, I feel dirty saying that.
Moment of silence for ULM. Yeah, last week.
Are they dead?
They beat Texas State, right? No. Oh yeah, Liberty. Oh yeah, Liberty almost had the golden score, Ryan.
Nope.
Good for them for scoring once.
Liberty scored a 40-7. They were that 1 point away from that 41-7 golden score.
Goodness.
I want to mention this only to make fun of 24/7 Sports. They have their power rankings of Sunbelt teams, and it's only 4 dudes doing it. It's Ben, obviously representing Panther Talk, and then some moron from USA, some moron from App State, and some moron from Arky State. So they come with their rankings, and they have Coastal and Lafayette battling it out for first place in the conference. Fine. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, that's legit.
That's legit. Right. They have a questionable App State running off their history as third. They got Arky State, who, like we just talked about, yes, has that Kansas State win, probably one of the worst P5 programs. And then they, look like garbage against an FCS program in the first quarter last week. Yeah, already got beat by Memphis. Got boat raced by Coastal. Is that the term? I use the term right? Boat race.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think.
We're talking about football, aren't we?
I think so.
Then you get Georgia State as 5th, with Southern right behind Georgia State. I don't think you can really rank Georgia State as far as 5th in the Sunbelt Power rankings right now.
Not based on like how we've played and the win record, right? I mean, like we have both those things under our belt. We just have a lack of respect from people that aren't from Georgia State.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of this is getting based off of history and not a lot being based off of, what we've seen in games. I seriously doubt that any of these 4 guys, all due respect to Ben, because I do think he's probably as unbiased as they come when he tries to do things like that. But I guarantee you, none of these guys have watched all of our games.
Right.
All 2 of them.
I would put us at 4th. I don't know. Where'd you put us?
I would say 4th, as high as 3.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you look at ECU beat the living snot out of USF over the weekend too.
They sure did. USF must be a complete mess.
No. USF is a stout program that does. They're going to be contending for the AAC this year.
Yeah, it turns out ECU is really good. We just are too.
We're just better than they are significantly. As in, do not allow them to score touchdowns.
Boom.
So. I mean, I think if we beat Arkansas State this week, obviously we should move up in their power ranking thingamabobber.
Yeah, maybe the app doesn't play this week.
Right, so that's going to be tough.
I think if Georgia State wins, period, even if it's a last-second field goal in overtime, if Georgia State wins at all, they should be 3rd place. And
power rankers will be like, well, you're Georgia State. You're still going to have to win another game. And then maybe we'll think you're legit. I'll
go so far as to say if Lafayette beats the snot out of Coastal, that we could even be ranked as high as 2nd, depending on our performance against Arkansas State.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
With Appy not playing.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair. And then because you even have the body of work, like we've already played Louisiana, we played them close. If they just blow them out of the water.
Yeah. So that's all I really got for the other games. Other sports. Yeah. Men's soccer got their first loss of the season.
Oh.
Yeah, sadly. Against, I think it was, I don't know who else was against. I didn't put that part down. They lost. Oh, it was Coastal. They lost to Coastal. Coastal is really becoming a thorn in my side. I really don't like Coastal anymore. I feel like that's the school that I thought had no business being in the conference other than baseball, obviously. But they're kind of being annoying now. Like, stop winning games and stuff.
Didn't they beat us in the soccer championship last year? Was it them?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that stuff.
I think I watched some of it. I think it was them. Damn.
It probably would be because that really annoys me and pisses me off. But women's soccer did win
all right.
against Appy, and they also won against Coastal. They are 1st in the East Division of the Sun Belt. So congrats to those ladies. Volleyball had a rough weekend against Coastal because I see even more reason for me to hate Coastal. But then we've got women's soccer plays Mercer and goes down to the crappy Eagle Creek on Sunday as well. And men's soccer will be down there as well. Cross country's got to meet in UAB. So, yeah.
All right.
We'll figure out how they do next week. So you guys got anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, cool.
I think we're good. Let's move on. Last call.
Yeah, head on to
Where's
last
the
call.
curve?
I got to use the restroom so incredibly bad right now. Thanks everybody for watching and for listening. Last call will come out on Friday. It will be oh man, yeah, it's interesting. This Braves game getting close.
Don't Georgia State it, Falcons it, United it, whatever the hell it is. Stop.
We will finish up the watch of the Braves game on last call. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Appreciate it. Talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.